Hello everyone. Today we have a compilation of the most exciting hands. Grand Event Day 1. Let's see how it went. The first hand of the series, we have Jack 10 suited. We are in early position. There is a limp before us. We isolate the limper, betting 400 chips. And right after us, an opponent immediately clicks 3 bets, making it 800. The limper calls, and of course we call as well. There are simply no other options. A fairly favorable board for us comes out our flush draw plus an open-ended straight draw. UTG out and checks, we check as well. On the flop, the aggressor makes a rather large bet, 2500, with the pot at 2700. UTG calls, and naturally we also call. A 5 comes on the turn, it's a blank. UTG checks, we check. And the pre-flop aggressor fires 70% of the pot. 7000 bank, then UTG folds. Well, given the pot odds, it's profitable for us to call here. We call, hoping to hit. But unfortunately a king comes on the river, we don't hit anything. We check when the opponent checks, we show jack high. They show aces. Yes, not a very lucky start, but it's no big deal. Next, we are dealt 2 jacks on the big blind. An early position opponent limps. Kotov limps. The small blind also limps. We isolate the situation by betting 1,500 chips. And from early position comes a small all-in of 300. We are left heads up naturally, we call, showing our jacks. The opponent turns over ace-9 offsuit, not a bad start. The flop is good. The turn is excellent, and the river is ours if you're looking for a reliable poker club with a huge variety of games and tournaments. With daily free rolls to suit any taste, then I want to recommend to you the Lucky Streak Club on the Xpoker platform. For joining the club, just message the manager on Telegram, and he will give you the download link for the club ID and answer any questions. With the promo code FOLUMA, you will receive a lifetime 50% rakeback and a web card on your first deposit. I also personally ensure the safety of your deposits. Welcome to the club and good luck at the tables. Not a bad start for a comeback. Next, we're on the cutoff. We have ace-10 blinds have increased to 200, 400. 400, there's a limp from the hijack. We isolate by betting 2000 chips. The button folds, SB folds, and the opponent on BB calls. The hijack also calls, and the king high board comes out. Both opponents check to us. We decide to bet right away to determine where we stand. A small bet, a third of the pot. We immediately knock out the BB, but the hijack calls. Not a bad situation for us. A 3 of hearts comes out. The opponent checks to us, and we check as well. An ace comes on the river. Good news for us, especially since the opponent makes a tiny bet into a huge pot. Well, there's no point in raising, we call. The opponent had a king, we outdrew him on the river. Great river, what a nice spot. We return to the starting stack. Next hand we are on the button. A huge raise comes from the cutoff blinds. We decide not to raise, just to call. The players on the blinds fold and a dry board comes out. We hit top pair. We have a fairly vulnerable kicker. We play check-check. A 6 comes on the turn. The opponent bets 2000. Well, we naturally call. I don't see any point in raising. Another blank falls on the river. The opponent checks to us, and we realize that we have the best hand. We can value bet. I bet half the pot, 4000, an instant call. We turn over our ace-8. The opponent shows ace-7. And our kicker holds up. We win a great pot, nice. We now have 1.5 starting stacks, and we start to get a bit bold. We open with suited 9-6 from the hijack, betting 2 big blinds, 2-4.
If you're looking for a reliable poker club with a huge selection of games, daily tournaments, and deposit bonuses, then I want to recommend to you the Lucky Streak Club on the Xpoker and Club GG platforms. Just message the manager on Telegram and they will answer all your questions and help you join the club. Withdrawals and deposits can be made in stablecoins USDT and USDT. Welcome to the club and good luck at the tables.
300. Cutoff, button pass, SB, call, and BB. Also calls a 10 high flop comes out, 2 spades, we have a backdoor flush, backdoor straight, we bet 3000, SB instantly folds, and the player on the big blind calls. A 7 comes on the turn, we have a gut shot. The player checks, we have to continue anyway, we bet 70% of the pot, 8000. And the player instantly folds, giving us a great pot. Thus we double our starting stack. We get ace-8 again, blinds are now 900, 1800. We open from middle position with 3600. We get a call, hijack cutoff, button fold, SB, calls, and the big blind also calls. There are 4 of us, but we are only interested in the SB player. You'll see why now. An ace-high flop comes, we have top pair with a bad kicker. But there's a flush draw, we need to understand where we stand. We bet 6000. Hijack folds immediately, SB, calls, and the big blind also folds. On the turn, probably the best card in the deck comes the 8 of hearts. The player checks to us and I decide to go all in here because it's quite draw heavy. Board. There are weaker aces that pay and I get a fairly quick call. I show my 2 pairs. The opponent reveals a flush draw plus a gut shot on the turn. We dodge his outs. A great double up pot. Next, on a raise from UTG and a call from early position. I decide to just call with my king. Suited queens cut off, the blind is already on the big blind. Another player calls. The flop comes. King 4-5-2 of spades, big blind. Check. And the caller from early position calls. We also add 5800. The turn brings an ace of diamonds. UTG. Check. And the cutoff also checks. And I decide, after thinking a bit, to go all in for about the size of the pot. And I get 2 folds. Now, I don't like this play at all. I'm not sure if it would have been better to 3-bet pre-flop or raise on the flop. Write in the comments how you would have played this hand. So, registration has already ended. Blinds are 1.5, 33. Scott opens to 6000 on the button call. And we find ace-queen in the small blind and go all in for 27 big blinds. Big blind folds. She is ready. The player thinks for a long time, even in the accelerated version. You can see how long he thinks, but they understand that it's always a stronger hand. Maybe he has something like ace-jack, king-queen or 9s. And he folds his cards. The button also folds. And they openly show us ace-king, we're on the hijack with an ace. 9 suited, there's a limper on UTG, we isolate him by raising to 12,003 big blinds. Everyone folds to the limper he calls, and an ace-high board comes out. We check, deciding to check here. We buy Obadub, second pair on the turn. And a bet of 12,000 comes from UTG. A straight completes on the river with a 10, and we instantly face a bet of 24,000. I thought for a bit, but because he bet so quickly, I decided to call. And we were shown 2 4s. Our 2 pairs were good. That's how the first day of the grand event ended. We bounced back with ace-queen against ace-king. Built up a good stack. The second episode will be out soon. Please give it a like. Write comments. It will really help me and I'll understand that I'm not doing all this in vain. Thank you all for watching. Goodbye.